Hey guys, Quigon Quasar here, back again with another Mass Effect Andromeda video, and in this video I'm actually going to be talking about kind of like a sort of debate topic, I guess. It's no particular topic, but with Mass Effect Andromeda, with obviously it's had a lot of negative criticism and sort of negative feedback, especially, you know, during the launch, but even now, like, the negative feedback continues, even, you know, from supposed die-hard Mass Effect fans. The complaint about the game and the complaint about Mass Effect Andromeda never seems to cease, and as you guys will know, I'm kind of a Mass Effect Andromeda YouTuber at the moment. I do tons of videos and I love this game, like I said, as you'll know if you've seen any of my videos. Now, I'm not trying to annoy anyone with this opinion, and I'm not saying, you know, if there's something you generally dislike about a game, then that's fine. Everyone's opinion is their opinion, but what I'm saying is, I don't think Andromeda deserves all of the negative feedback. Like, it still continues to get negative feedback. It does make me think that a lot of the people complaining are either, like I said, critics trying to develop a bandwagon of hate toward Mass Effect Andromeda because it serves their own purpose. And, you know, if they insult a large franchise or a large series like Mass Effect, it will gain, you know, a lot of attention from Mass Effect fans that will just click on their pages, you know, out of sort of clickbait reasons because they're annoyed, because they get annoyed at seeing, you know, their favorite game, one of their favorite games, or one of their favorite franchises being insulted, so they'll click on it, and it gains these, you know, these critics a big, big amounts of views and clicks and attention on their videos and their articles, on their webpage, and on their, you know, their, I guess, like Reddit threads or, you know, forum post or whatever. Now, I just don't think that Andromeda deserves that, you know, this continued hate against it. Like, the developers have done a lot to sort of turn it around, and it's not just for money reasons. A lot of people say, oh, it's just because they want money, it's just because they're trying to get money. No, it's not, because the DLC is free, the updates are free, they haven't released any paid stuff yet. People will complain, I've seen a lot in comments of other videos, and in my videos even, people complain about, like, the, you know, lack of, or like complain about the DLC right now, but the thing is, the DLC is free. I agree that it sucks that we haven't seen any single player DLC right now, but that's not really the developer's fault. It's not really EA's fault either. It's because, you know, this game was bashed so much, so wrongly at the launch that the developers, or, well, no, the publishers, EA, really have a hard time of sort of they don't really have much of a reason to do single player DLC or pump any more, you know, paid content into the game if people are, you know, hating on it so harshly. That's why it's the critics' fault that we haven't seen any single player DLC yet. So don't blame. I see a lot of people blaming BioWare or EA for that, saying that it's their fault or getting annoyed at them. No, it's not. It's because of the critics. It's because, you know, they refused to admit that Andromeda is a decent game, or not even that. They don't have to admit that Andromeda is a good game or an awesome game like it is. All they have to do is respect other people's opinions, and they didn't do that. They didn't respect that, you know, a lot of people still like Andromeda despite all of these critics putting up clickbait, you know, reviews in articles and videos. Some people just don't respect that, you know, the game's still loved by a lot of people, and that's why we haven't seen any single player DLC. And because we haven't seen any single player DLC, I've seen a lot of people complaining about, you know, lack of DLC, or that, you know, we get Apex missions and Apex mission DLC, but we don't get any single player DLC. That is the reason why we haven't seen any. If, you know, if a lot of these, I'm not saying morons as in the player base, I'm saying the morons as in, like, the critiques, you know, the big time article sort of authors that don't give a damn about video games, or don't give really a damn about Mass Effect Andromeda in general. They just want the money that it brings them. They just want the clicks. They just want the views. And it's not why I do videos. It's not why I play Andromeda, and it's not why, you know, many people play Andromeda. They're not actual fans of Mass Effect, so it doesn't really make sense for them to be reviewing or critiquing an installment into the Mass Effect series or franchise. That's who I'm saying is wrong. Is sort of the critics that are only doing it because, you know, oh, money, we'll review a big game, a big name franchise, a big name series, and it will get us clicks, and we'll insult it, it will get us even more clicks. That's what I'm saying. I think those guys are morons, those guys are idiots, and they're the reason why we haven't seen any single player DLC before, or up until now. If it wasn't for them, we would have seen it within, you know, the past 3 months. We probably would have seen it within the first month or so of the release of Mass Effect Andromeda, I guess. We would have seen a little bit of it, maybe not, you know, Shadow Broker DLC size, like, you know, the Shadow Broker was from Mass Effect 2, for anyone that doesn't know. It was a massive, awesome DLC. We probably wouldn't have seen that for a few months anyway, but we would have seen some kind of single player DLC, I believe, at least I think so. And I just feel like these people that And it's not even the critics like I was saying before, the moron critics that are just doing it for money or just for doing it for clicks anymore. There's still some of that on YouTube. There's still some of the YouTubers that are doing that, but it's no longer like, you know, these big name article, or not always big name people, but article authors and article, you know, I guess, web page owners, I don't know what you call them. That, you know, they don't actually make videos of it, they do like article reviews or critiques of a game. They don't really do it anymore. They're not really active. They're not really bashing Andromeda anymore, simply because it's, like I said, this is proof that what I said before is right, because it's not a brand new game anymore. It's not going to gain them as many clicks or as many views if they insult it, so they don't insult it anymore. They don't talk about it anymore. The reason people are still doing it on YouTube is because YouTube's a bit different to articles, and, you know, the way that articles and stuff like that works. It works in a different way, but even on YouTube, we're not really seeing many people critiquing Andromeda. You still get the occasional, you know, odd YouTuber saying, oh, goddamn, these facial animations. I can't enjoy this game because the eyes, they just don't look realistic enough for me. Completely prevents you from enjoying the story or the missions or the exploration or the open world or generally the overall pretty good graphics. Pretty damn decent graphics. Really, you know, those unrealistic eyes that really prevent you from enjoying how awesome this horde mode multiplayer is. No, you cannot enjoy it if the eyes don't look true to life, apparently, because that's their logic. You still get a couple of people, you know, talking about that on YouTube, but really, it's not the hype anymore. Like I said, it doesn't gain that many views, it doesn't gain that much, you know, that many clicks anymore, so people don't really talk about it. But a lot of the player base, or some of the player base at least, that, you know, that are on YouTube, sometimes watching my videos, watching other videos I've seen in the comments, it seems like they'll never be happy. They just, when they release, like, they'll complain about a problem, say, I don't know, let's say the eyes, for example. The eyes that, I agree that, like, the facial animation in this game isn't as realistic as, say, The Witcher 3 or Uncharted 4, for example, but it doesn't matter. It's, you know, graphics have never been the focus of Mass Effect, nor are they the focus, really, of the Witcher games. I'm a big fan of the Witcher games as well, and nor are they the focus of the Uncharted games. Again, I'm a big fan of the Uncharted games. It's not that big of a deal if a certain aspect, like if the eyebrows weren't the most realistic. Like, just say it out loud with me, eyebrows. Like, it's not, who thinks about, oh, we have to put realistic eyebrows in the game when they develop the game. It's not a big deal. It's, people are just complaining for the sake of complaining. But as I was saying, with the eyes, with like the eye animation, facial animation, things like that was fixed in, you know, after a month or so of the game being out. And then once it was fixed, well, the next update they released, they did it even better. And with each update, they're finessing it even more, making the facial animation and the, you know, the cutscene animations, the cutscene quality even better with each animation. They're improving it over and over again, perfecting it even more. And every time they fix an issue, every time BioWare fixes an issue, it seems like these constant complainers, let's call them constant complainers. These constant complainers, they just complain about a new thing, like this magic. They magically find a new problem with the game. Like, oh well, we don't like this now. We liked it last time. We liked it before, you know, the facial animation was fixed. We didn't have a problem with it then. We didn't say anything about it then. But now that the facial animation is fixed, we're just gonna start complaining about it now. Do you see where where I'm going with this? Like, you see sort of my logic with it. I just don't think it's I don't think it's logical. I don't think it makes sense that, you know, they still complain about it. If people really don't like Andromeda, I've said this from the start. I said this in the very first sort of debate video or ramble video. So if people don't like Andromeda, they shouldn't bash it and try and ruin it for other people and, you know, destroy other people's lives simply for having a different opinion to them and actually enjoying Andromeda. On me and my comments, on other people, on other YouTubers, simply for liking Andromeda, they'll get hate simply because they have a different opinion to these constant complainers. It's like if the game, fine, that's completely fine, but they don't seem contented. That they seem, you know, they won't be happy until they try and ruin it for everyone else and try and stop everyone else from enjoying the game as well. Unless everyone has their same opinion and everyone hates Mass Effect Andromeda as much as them, they won't be happy, and then they won't rest until that happens. And because it hasn't happened, they still complain, you know, in the comments. I've done a couple of these videos now saying I've never really said, oh, don't have this opinion, don't have that opinion. I said in my very first debate video about Mass Effect Andromeda and the, you know, the negative feedback, saying that it was wrong. I said in that video, if you've got a proper, sort of a decent and fair argument, say if you just don't like the story, you don't like where the story's gone or headed, you don't like the gameplay, fair enough, you're entitled to that opinion. But if you're judging the game over goddamn eyebrows or eyelashes or how realistic fingernails look, That does not make sense, and that's absolute nonsense. And I've said that from the start, from my very first debate video, from my very first sort of player-based feedback video. I strongly believe in that. I think that's just common sense. Why does it matter if a character's goddamn eyes look realistic? You know, who buys a game for the eyes? You don't go to a store and think, oh, I really want to buy a game with, you know, good eye animation today. I really want to buy a game that makes me immersed to the point where I believe I'm looking at real life nose hair. You just don't. Do you get what I mean? You just don't. So I think it's really silly. And like I said, constant complainers, they'll never be happy with Andromeda. They'll never sort of be happy with it. And what I'm saying, my sort of my roundabout point, I've ranted a little bit, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but my roundabout point with this video is that I wish these constant complainers are just, you know, kind of punks in the way that they just constantly complain about a game and never let it be. If they don't enjoy the game, leave it. There's nothing wrong with that. If they don't enjoy the game and they've got a valid opinion, I won't argue with them. If they've got an opinion that's, you know, like I said, about they just don't like where the story headed, they maybe just don't enjoy Andromeda, maybe they just don't like how Firelight changed the combat. I don't think they would say that, because the combat's quite similar to Mass Effect 3, is just improved in basically every way. But say if they did say that, then I'd respect it. I'd be like, alright, fair enough. That's a fair opinion. Yeah, if you don't enjoy the game, don't play it. But it's not like that. They've got a lot of people are judging Andromeda over tiny little things, like I said, eyebrow graphics, things like that, nose hair, pixel quality, things like that. And they don't let people sort of enjoy the game for themselves. And like I said before, this is my roundabout point. If you don't enjoy the game, don't play it, but leave it. Let other people enjoy it. Let other people sort of have fun with it. Because that, like I said, I'm running sort of linking back to one of my first earlier points earlier on in the video. If people hadn't done such a sort of sabotage job on Mass Effect Andromeda when it first launched, we would have already seen the first lot of DLC. Because EA would have thought to themselves, oh well, if we make DLC, single player DLC, people will play it, people will want that, and there'll be demand for it. But because there's been such a massive and huge sort of, like I said, sabotage job by these constant complainers. 90% of them are constant complainers, and they're just whining about nothing. They just whine for the sake of whining, like these article writers and stuff. Because of their sabotage job and just, you know, they've tried the best to destroy Andromeda before it really begun, and before it, you know, took its first step, took its first stride. Because of that, they've basically sabotaged Mass Effect, the series as a whole. They've sabotaged the Mass Effect series. And by that I mean that they've, you know, drastically decreased the chances of a future Mass Effect game, and they've made it so that, you know, the diehard, the actual real fans of Mass Effect and Mass Effect Andromeda, we're probably not going to see any single player DLC anytime soon, and if we do, it's not going to be anywhere near as big as it could have been, or as it would have been. EA would have put so much goddamn funding into it if they thought that it was going to be popular and people would actually hit. If you guys have played Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, not really with Mass Effect 1 because that was a breakout, that was when, you know, the series was first breaking out, but with Mass Effect 2 and with Mass Effect 3, hugely popular game. It didn't seem like as many of the constant complainers had parasitically leached onto the Mass Effect series like they have done with Mass Effect Andromeda. They were the good old days, and back then, because, you know, no one had tried to sabotage the launch of Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3, we saw some amazing DLC. I cannot think of a single DLC from previous Mass Effect games, and like I said, especially Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, that I didn't like and that wasn't completely awesome and unarguably awesome. Good, who, like I said, Shadowbreaker DLC had I can't remember that one with Kasumi. I can't remember what that one was, but they were all amazing, and Arrival was really good. That was like a supplement. It wasn't like a massive one. Broker, but it was still awesome, and it, you know, provided more backstory and more of a link between Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, and then the Mass Effect 3 DLC, it was amazing and awesome as well. And I just, like, we could have seen that, but at a much bigger scale, and on a much bigger scale with Andromeda. If these constant complainers and whiners hadn't sabotaged the game, we may still see single player DLC, and I've drafted a few ideas out there of potential single player DLC that I think would be pretty damn cool. I'll link one of those videos up on the screen now if you want to go and check. I sort of had this Contact War, sort of the first time humans encountered Torians or any other species. I think that would be a good sort of standalone DLC for Mass Effect Andromeda that told its own story. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I think there's still a lot of potential for single player, but we probably won't see any of it anytime soon, and if we do, we won't see anywhere near as much of it, and we won't see anywhere near as big of a single-player DLC as we could have done if, like I said, the constant whiners and the constant complainers hadn't sabotaged the launch and the time following the launch of Mass Effect Andromeda, and sort of, like I said, left some first stride. Anyway, I think this is going to bring it to its end. I'm not trying to start like an argument or a war in the comments. I'm just saying my opinion. I love Andromeda. I love Mass Effect as a whole. I really don't like what gamers or what the supposed sort of fan base. I say fan. I use the term fan very lightly because a fan wouldn't do this to a series that they're a fan of. I just don't like what we've done with it as a whole, or what we've allowed to do with it, or what the community has done. Like, if a community like the Mass Effect community has stood together, if it did stand together against these constant whiners, the sort of the clickbait nonsense, moronic articles and videos that just complain about silly crap, in Mass Effect Andromeda, and just made up these fake magical problems in Andromeda out of nowhere, out of goddamn Neverland. They just went into Neverland and picked up a bunch of magical fairy reasons as to why Mass Effect Andromeda isn't a good game. If we'd stood as a community and sort of just towards those sort of articles and those sort of videos and just gone like, nope, we're noping out of here, and just didn't watch those videos and didn't click on those articles, didn't give them the money that clicking on those articles and clicking on those videos did give them. If we didn't do that, if we sort of came together and worked as a community to sort of expel that from sort of get Andromeda, have seen some awesome DLC by now, and we wouldn't have to be worrying about a future Mass Effect game. It would already be confirmed, like at the end of Mass Effect 2, it was basically unofficially confirmed that there was going to be a third Mass Effect. It did really well, and a lot of people loved it. So, and like I said, there wasn't any sort of constant whiners sort of plaguing the Mass Effect sort of series and franchise back then. So it did really well, and it was almost like an unofficial guarantee that we're going to see a further Mass Effect game after Mass Effect 2. But anyway, like I said, that's going to bring this video to an end. Obviously, let me know what you feel like, or your opinion in the comments. I am eager to hear it. Like I said, not looking to start an argument, not looking for an argument. I'm just stating my opinion, and a lot of the opinions of the people here on my channel. I know a lot of people have said similar things to this in the comments of my older videos and my previous debate videos. If you want to see any more of my videos, definitely stick around and subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.